Vikings. It's First Chapter Friday. Today we're going to read Hack Attack, A Trip to Worldland by Jan Fields. Miss Lumley suggested I do a scary book because I've not done many scary books. And I couldn't decide between Hack Attack or Tuck. And then I did a copy status to see that Tuck was being checked out a lot. So I know you guys already love it. So I'm going to read Hack Attack. It's the first book in the series. And I think the series has 6 books because that's what it tells me on the back. I was going to say 5, but the back tells me 6, so it has 6 books. So here we go. Here's our first chapter. A coded message. Carter hauled his backpack up on his shoulder as he trudged up the front steps. His mom stood right inside the front door, juggling a portfolio and easel as she snagged her car keys from the rack beside the door. Hi, hon, how was school? His mom reached up to brush his hair off his face, only to have it fall right back. We need to get you a haircut. I have to run or I'm going to be late for my painting class. Grab a snack. Dad's cooking tonight. I put your mail on your bed. Carter blinked as his mom closed the door behind him. Sometimes these fast-forward conversations took a minute to sort out. Mail on his bed. Cool! He dashed upstairs and dropped his backpack next to his desk with a thud. He snatched the postcard from his bed. He knew it was from Uncle Dan before he even looked at the message. Dan Hunter collected weird postcards and sent them with his secret messages. The picture was usually some kind of hint. This card showed 2 kids sitting a few inches away from a television, eyes intent on the screen. Behind them, 2 robots stood reading thick books. Carter wondered if his uncle was trying to teach robots to read, or maybe he was trying to hypnotize people by television. Uncle Dan worked on a lot of high-tech projects, and some of them were super secret things for the government. Carter flipped the card over and noticed the date first, 12/23/2009. At first glance, it looked like his uncle was seriously behind in the mail, but Carter knew that the date was a clue to the code. Then he read the message. You wouldn't believe the great new fishing rod I brought last week. I want to take you fishing so we can try it out. Our job will be to catch the biggest fish in the lake. We can top the giant catfish that we caught last year. My secret bait and this new rod are the key to success. I know the bait stinks, but fish don't think like us. This stuff is going to give the fish a call. Carter knew that Uncle Dan hated fishing and would never ever buy a fishing pole, so that meant that this was definitely a code message. The date told him which words to underline. The string of numbers 1232009 meant that he needed to underline the first word in the first sentence, and the second word in the second sentences and third sentences, and the third word in the fourth sentence, and so on. He had to skip the 6th and 7th sentence since they had 0 code words. When he was done, he knew that the code message was, You want job? Top secret call. He figured the first part was the question. You want job? The rest meant the job was a secret and he should call his uncle. Carter crammed his hand in his pocket to snag his cell phone. Then he remembered it was dead because he dropped it in the toilet. It's school today. You'd think phone companies would make these things waterproof. He trotted downstairs to the phone in the kitchen to make the call. His uncle picked up the first ring. Speak, Uncle Dan said. I got your card, Carter said. I love to go fishing. I could really use a good fishing trip. Great, Uncle Dan said. Come over tomorrow morning. We're taking Isabella too. Carter moaned at the click of his uncle hanging up. He couldn't think of too many things he'd enjoy less than working with his let's try that again. He couldn't think of anything he'd enjoy less than working with his brainiac cousin. Maybe Dad will spring for one more phone, he muttered, and I can pass on the Dizzy Easy job. Unfortunately, his parents did not respond well to the ruined cell phone. Carter Anthony Lewis, his mom said, why exactly were you using your phone in the bathroom? Because if you use it anywhere else, one of the teachers will take it away, he said. And I needed to text Matt about something hysterical that happened in gym. Well, this time no one is laughing, his father said, and no new cell phone unless you pay for it yourself. The next morning, Carter was on his bike headed toward his uncle's house. He'd hoped the job required him to work far away from his cousin. Carter could still hear his dad's patent responsibility lecture ringing in his ears as he turned into Uncle Dan's drive. He hopped off and wheeled the bike behind the little corral that held his uncle's garbage cans. Uncle Dan insisted that they always keep their bikes from prying eyes. Dizzy Easy's blue and silver bike already leaned against the back of the corral. As soon as Carter's knuckles hit the door, it flew open. Uncle Dan stood smiling at him. He was wearing a moldy orange life vest and a floppy hat decorated with fishing lures. Come in, he bellowed. We're making new fishing lures. Sure, I love fishing, Carter yelled back. He followed his uncle through the door. Uncle Dan swept off the hat of his head, revealing close-cropped brown hair in the exact same shade as Carter's longer mop. His uncle tossed the hat on the bench just inside the door. The laugh as followed. "Where'd you get the hat?" Carter asked. "Flea market. Don't touch it, it bites." Carter started to suggest that maybe he shouldn't be left on the bench where people sit, but then he pictured Izzy plopping down on it and smiled. At that moment, Izzy peered over the first floor landing, her long straight hair hanging around her thin face and her mouth pinched. Carter thought she looked like she might be about to hurl over the railing, so he stepped carefully to one side. "About time you got here," she snapped. Carter ignored her and followed Uncle Dan. "What's the job?" he asked. "New project," Uncle Dan said. "Going to revolutionize bookstores." "Bookstores?" Carter echoed. "Your top secret project is for bookstores? I thought it'd be something cool for the government." Uncle Dan laughed as he headed into the kitchen to grab sodas for everyone. Carter's uncle believed sugar and caffeine helped your brain work faster. He believed a lot of weird stuff. That's one of the things Carter liked about him. You never knew what to expect. Books are the seeds that grow worlds and topple governments. "Come on down to the lab where I'll introduce you to the future," Uncle Dan said. Uncle Dan's basement looked different every time Carter visited, but you always saw computers, lots and lots of computers and monitors. Some of the screens showed views of the yard from cameras keeping watch over the property, but at least one monitor always had lines of computer code. Today, Uncle Dan walked by all of them and opened the door to the basement storage room. Now, the small room is almost empty, except for two spacesuits hanging suspended from the ceiling from dozens of thin wires that look like giant space Marietta, Mary, that look like giant space marionettes. Sorry, that word was really getting me there. "You're making puppets?" Carter asked. "Don't be a dope," Izzy whispered fiercely. Then she turned to her uncle and sweetly asked, "You're doing something for NASA, aren't you?" "No puppets and no NASA," Uncle Dan said, pushing his glasses up on his nose. "You're looking at the new way to read a book." Carter and Izzy exchanged a look. Carter wondered if his uncle had finally lost it. Chapter 2: The Plot Twist. If you would like to find out what happens to the hack attack or a trip to Wonderland, you can check it out. This book is found in the scary section. So I hope you enjoyed First Chapter Friday. Please forgive me for my few words that I was really struggling with today, and see you guys next week.